Hello there, and welcome to the RetroSaber Podcast, where we always take the high ground. And this is episode 12 of the RetroSaber Podcast. And today I am talking about one particular game and my feelings for that. That game is Grand Theft Auto 6. And my feelings? I am terrified to play this game. Now, why would I be scared? Well, we'll get to that. I don't mean scared as in I think it's going to frighten me. I think I'm more really worried to play this game. Now, let's give some context to this, shall we? Because context is key. That's one of my favourite little sayings. The GTA games span a long period of time. They go way back to the PlayStation 1 days of gaming, and they've changed a lot over that period of time. And it's fair enough that people that like the very, very first ones wouldn't necessarily have been a fan of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Also, as the games have continued to develop, some people have gotten more and more in love with the franchise, others have maybe withdrawn a little bit. And I've not minded that. There's been certainly games in that franchise that I've loved far more. I was never particularly a fan of those original GTA games, the looking down on the city scene. I didn't really get into the franchise until around GTA 3. But it was Vice City that really captivated me. I truly fell in love with that game. San Andreas was a game I enjoyed a lot as well, although I wasn't as particularly interested in the environment and layout with Vice City. I particularly liked that retro feel of it being back in the 80s. That was one of the captures for it. Plus the music in that game was far better for me. But San Andreas was still a really good game and I played it to completion. After that, as the games developed, I picked up pretty much every GTA game. I certainly loved revisiting Liberty City and Vice City in the PlayStation Portable versions of the game, the Vice City stories and Liberty City stories. Absolutely fantastic games. So, why does GTA 6 fill me with trepidation, fear, worry? Well, it's been quite a while. This wait from GTA 5, which I mostly enjoyed. I didn't really complete it, though. I kind of lost interest to a degree, but still enjoyed it. The wait from there to where we're going, that GTA 6, it's become a meme. Literally, you type in GTA 6 wait memes on Google, there'll be tons of them. You know, before when I played GTA 5, when I played GTA 6, and it's gone from being this a sperm to an old man or a coffin or something. And, you know, whether that's fair or not is up for debate. They shouldn't rush a game out if it's not ready. I'm all for that. All these games giving you early access to a game and you play it and realise you're just actually paying them to do the beta testing on a game which is nowhere near finished. Or creating a game that just isn't very good because they haven't got new ideas for it. None of those are good things. So the wait could absolutely be the right thing to do if it means they're creating a better game. And that's a big factor, the wait comes with anticipation. In the time since the last GTA game came out, I've moved. I've got a mortgage. I've moved where I worked twice, maybe even 3 times, I'm not sure. I've got a brand new job. I've started this channel. My life is completely different. It's a huge gap of time, and anticipation comes with that. Now, that's not necessarily a reason to be fearful, but unfortunately gaming has changed a lot since then. When I bought GTA 5, you bought a disc knowing you had bought the full game. Yeah, there might have been some potential for bits you could buy, additional DLC or whatever, but you bought that knowing you were buying a full game, guaranteed, no questions asked. And the same applied to every other GTA game before it. There wasn't like, oh, well, if you're behind this paywall, you can get this. Behind that. No, the wall you had to break to be able to access other areas was gameplay. You had to complete a certain amount of the game before you could access other areas. Things have changed now. In the same way my life has changed dramatically since GTA 5, the gaming landscape of the world has changed dramatically too. What people considered back then would have been absolutely despicable. People would have boycotted entire companies. It would have been on the national news. Is now just accepted. People walk into a gaming mugging. And I've already heard rumours that this is going to be a factor in GTA 6. For a long time, a lot of the stuff you've seen online about GTA has been about GTA Online, which is riddled and absolutely full of microtransactions and stuff like that. And I'm not necessarily against that, by the way. You know, these online versions of the games, if that's what people are paying for, then that's fine. But when GTA 6 comes out, there's already been a lot of rumours that there are going to be whole areas of the land that you can't access unless you get them by going through a paywall. Whether that's pre-orders or special editions of the game, whatever. This is already taking away from what I loved in the other GTA games. That's a problem I've spoken about with previous podcasts, though, so I don't want to get too bogged down into the despicable nature of microtransactions and paywalls, or what I consider to be a sort of group acceptance of this. What I want to talk about is why, for me personally, GTA 6 is a bit scary, a bit worrying, and I touched on it earlier. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, I don't know how others feel about Vice City. I was always under the impression that it is one of the most beloved GTA games, if not the most, certainly with retro gamers, but I don't know. I'm not certain. I don't want to speak on behalf of everyone. What I will say is, though, for me personally, GTA Vice City was a massive shift in gaming. I'd not long got my first PS2 when I bought Vice City. And up until then, I'd played only Nintendo consoles. Or had only Nintendo consoles, sorry. I'd played on PlayStation, I'd played on Sega consoles and stuff that were my friends. We'd often done swaps, but this was my first PlayStation console, and I played Vice City, and it was so different. There was a maturity, but with fun. Not maturity in the way of a lot of other games where they're almost so serious and so mature and brutal that they're not fun. This game still had that fun value. There was so much life in the city. I was walking around and I was being transported to a new world. A lively, vibrant world. Maybe a little bit cartoonish, maybe a little bit over the top. But it was so alive visually. The soundtrack to it as well, absolutely phenomenal. It didn't matter whether I was listening to metal, to dance music, to the sort of chat channels. Everything on there I loved and enjoyed. And it was so much fun just driving around, playing everything about it. And as someone who grew up in the 80s, I was literally born at the dawn of the 1980s, looking at it from a different perspective. I grew up in the 80s in a council estate in England, like the north of England. Seeing the 80s again in the way I'd seen it on television in America, these neon colours and vibrant suits. This was something different. It was like taking me back to my time, but in a place I could never be. It was amazing. It was so much fun. The cars were the best. The bikes were the best. It was just the perfect game. I really enjoyed it, and I played a lot of the other GTA games, but they didn't have that magic. It didn't matter how good the graphics were. All the other GTA games, I was walking around and I'm thinking, okay, so I'm in a slum, or I'm in a rough gang-ridden neighborhood, or I'm in, out in the countryside. I can visit all these places for real, to some degree or another. And also, would I want to? Well, most of them, no. I wouldn't want to be here. So it doesn't have the same spark. Some of the other GTA games later down the line would show you really posh areas and nice mansions and stuff, but it was still just now, the real world. Still a lot of fun. Really enjoyed them. But it didn't have that same magic. When on the PlayStation Portable, PSP, Vice City Stories came out, I was over the moon to go back and visit that place again. Yes, it was a good few years before Vice City, so things were still in development and being built and stuff like that. So it was like going to the same place, but a little bit earlier. That was really cool too. Really enjoyed it, and it still felt that vibe. So all that fun was still there in a different way. And as the games developed and moved away from that, I just accepted that. That was okay. Vice City was a one-off. Except it's not. GTA 6 is going back to Vice City. Now, I should be absolutely riddled with excitement. And there's a little catch. It's going back to Vice City, but it's still sticking with now. Like modern times. Well, everything that made Vice City so special was the fact that it was the 80s. Now, that doesn't mean it had to stick with the 80s again. In my mind, I was initially thinking, oh, cool, maybe it'll move to the 90s. So it's like a little bit later down the line where those characters went. Now you're a new character stepping in. Maybe with the Tommy Vercetti who we played as in the original one, maybe now he's the big bad. Or maybe he's like the mentor. Maybe we've got a new character coming through trying to establish himself or herself. Maybe a couple of them. Keep that, diversity rolling around. Have a few different people that we play as, like we did in GTA 5. And this group of people are trying to work to cement his legacy or to overthrow him, whatever it is. In the 90s, that would be really cool. But it's not. It's modern times, as far as I understand. And it feels like it's going to be so depressing going back there now. I remember watching the advert for it, the trailer for it, and showing, oh, look at what it's like now. And I was like, well, it looks horrible. The way that people are acting, I was looking going, ugh. I wouldn't want to go there in real life. Why would I want to go there in a video game? Now, I don't know. I could be entirely wrong. It could be a great deal of fun. But between taking away what made Vice City so special as a game and this looming fear of what's going to be behind a paywall, how much of it is going to be, am I going to have to pay extra? And this is going to be an expensive game, by the way. An expensive game that we're expected to pay more to access additional stuff. I think I'm quite worried about that. I don't even know. whether I'll be buying it, at least initially, when it comes out. And it's, I've heard prices that it's going to be well over £100. Whether that's once you buy additional stuff or whether that's a pre-order thing where you've got to, if you want to buy, have early access or not, I'm not sure. But I'm sorry, even video games out now for £70 is abysmal. It's ridiculous. I spoke to a friend a little while back who spoke about the amount of effort that goes into video games. I don't see it. I've seen some very good quality games. But at the same time as there's a lot more that goes into games, the advancements and technology is also improving. That does a lot. And I know people that work within the games industry that have said this to me. The vast majority of the work is done after the game is made, doing the testing and checking to see whether everything works. And half of that nowadays is done through when you pre-order it and it's riddled with bugs and you report each bug. So, in a perfect world, what would I do with this? What would I do with GTA6? Well, I mentioned earlier, I quite like the idea of going back to Vice City. But maybe, rather than committing to a modern Vice City, maybe they should have done something different, something they haven't done before. Not too long back, they released a definitive edition with GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. And as much as I loved Vice City, I know there's other people that felt more of a connection to San Andreas and its characters, a bit more of a connection to Liberty City and its characters or its stories. So what if they'd done something original, something unique? Rather than just making another fake city to go to, but it's going to have the same areas. Rather than making a modern-day visit to Vice City, what if we had a story that spanned Vice City, Liberty City, and San Andreas? That would be quite doable. The areas are relatively small by the standards of modern games. They have airports in. We could literally drive to the airport, buy a ticket to fly to another map. Now, I'm not saying the map should be exactly like they were. I would set it at a different time. And I think this is where that mid-90s idea would be perfect. Because in one part of the game, Vice City, we would be seeing the future. In GTA Liberty City, in Liberty Cities, which would be obviously just GTA 3, but in Liberty City, we'd be seeing just a few years before that game took place. Maybe just a little bit before Liberty City Stories takes place. It could literally run into that game. And then when we're in San Andreas, we'd be seeing the relatively distant past. It could even be that each of these different places is unlocked rather than being behind a firewall that you have to pay for. Maybe it's unlocked behind the price of a plane ticket. Like, you actually have to work, do missions to be able to afford a plane ticket to Vice City. Maybe you even have to get a fake passport and get all these different things that you would need to be able to get over there. That give an actual mission reason to unlock these places. It would also connect them. Vice City, San Andreas, Liberty City, all connected, all tied in, so that they truly felt like they were that one game. It could effectively do what Spider-Man No Way Home did for the Spider-Man movies. Bring them all together, unite them under that one banner that makes them all whole. We could tie characters in from each of them the character or characters we're playing as could venture out and have to meet people from each of these games, bringing them all together, visiting locations that we've visited before but at a different point in time. There's so many options we could do with this, and the music, by the way, would be fantastic. You could literally have a retro channel which plays some of the greatest hits from Vice City. We could also have that the channels are different and the music is different when you go to the different cities. Maybe once you've unlocked them, you then have those channels on your radio. Or you could even have a cassette player so that once you've visited Vice City and you go back to Liberty City, while you were there, you could buy some music from Vice City, and now when you go back, you can play it there in your car radio. Hell, that could even be an upgrade to your car. Your car has to upgrade to get a cassette player, so then your music is different. This, to me, would be the ideal way to do it. It ties back into that Grand Theft Auto Definitive Edition of these 3 great games, but it's entirely new. You get to explore all of these places. There'd be nothing stopping them having a few new locations as well. I would certainly want to see more indoor places, more side quests, but the story itself just could be something really special. We could have a group of criminals, and we could actually do something different here. We could have a group of people who are wrongly accused, who aren't actually criminals. Maybe people who are even, disgusted that they've been brought into this. The idea of making a lot of games more politically correct is certainly something that's very much on the horizon. But rather than make it about token gestures, gender, skin colour, certain music, certain phrases, let's make it about real progression, societal progression, and let's have characters that maybe don't want to be criminals, that are on the wrong side of the law not because of their own actions, but because of circumstance. We could see how these 3 different characters develop. Maybe some of them actually fall into that mindset. Demonstrate how people being wrongly accused of crimes, being forced into particular positions, can make them the very thing that you are trying to deter them from being. Whereas other characters, other people, are able to sidestep that to a degree. Now, obviously, it's a GTA game. You're still going to go around killing loads of people. But we could even limit it to what happens in the missions. Are some people going to try and do missions with least harm? Stun guns, things like that. Or are people going to, shooting in the legs so they don't kill? Or are people just going to go in and slaughter? Could that change the storyline as we go along? Some of the elements that were in games like San Andreas were really good, being able to personalise your character, their style, their hairstyle, tattoos, piercings, fitness levels to a degree, although that got a little bit annoying after a while. Some of the stuff with the gangs, maybe, but the idea that I have to run away from when I'm halfway across the city to a mission, having to go all the way back because we're about to lose some territory, that got in the way a little bit. But it gives us the option to pick the best from each one and revisit that. This seems like a perfect idea to me, but it's not what we're getting. And that's what scares me. What we are getting might not be so perfect. But what if I'm wrong? What if I am wrong? GTA6 is set in Vice City, and it is set in modern times. But that doesn't mean it can't really do a very good job of paying homage to Vice City, to that time period. Cool flashbacks, seeing locations that we know all derelict and run down, but then flashbacks to what they used to be. Maybe even our character being able to rebuild some of them to their former glory. The hotel, the bar, and open it as a retro bar. So we almost have havens of Vice City around Vice City. Maybe some of the music that I loved in that game will be on the channels as a retro channel, an 80s channel. Those same songs, that would be incredible. There might even be missions where we attend like some sort of 80s night and we have to wear the suits that we'd see in those games. Maybe Tommy Vercetti or other characters from this will appear in it, or family members of them. Maybe areas that were really run down, Little Haiti and stuff, are going to be in a better place. Maybe, just maybe, when I buy the game, I'll consider it value for money. But there's a price limit to what can be value. You're asking me to pay over £100 for a game, and it would not matter how good the game is. It is not value for money. You make me buy a full game and I still don't get the full game. It is not value for money. GTA6 is a game that has been waited on a long time, and lots of different people will want different things. This is one of the biggest concerns as well. You will have who I consider to be relatively young people who were fans of GTA 5, who played GTA 5, still play GTA 5. But you have also tapped into fans of Vice City. And that means you've got to appeal to both of these fans. You've got to satisfy both of these sets of fans. But these sets of fans are quite literally decades apart from each other. They're going to want different things. There's nothing wrong with that. And there'd be nothing wrong with making a game that appeals to one of those sets of fans. It will be amazing if they manage to make a game that appeals to both of these sets of fans. But damn, that's a serious challenge. This isn't like a sports game where you've got people that want to do a story mode and people that want to do a career mode, people that want to do like the card collecting type games, and people that just want to play actual sports. Because on those games, you can fit all of those in. You know, I play WWE 2K24. I play my Rise and I play my GM. I don't do my faction, but there's other people that only play my faction. That's not how this is going to work. There's no multiple different modes to it. So who's it going to really appeal to? What I will say is that, in my experience, so far, all of the GTA games have been very well made and enjoyable. So maybe I'm underselling Rockstar a little bit here. They're certainly taking their time with it. And if they think they can create a game that appeals to a cross-generation of fans, and they can pull it off, man, that's going to be one hell of a game. One hell of a game. So, maybe that anxiety, that fear, it's understandable, but hopefully, it's going to be very misplaced. Hopefully, when GTA 6 hits and lands at a not reasonable price, because no game is these days, but a price that doesn't feel like robbery. And hopefully there isn't too much in the way of paywalls. And hopefully they manage to lovingly pay homage to Vice City, whilst also still making a game that modern gamers fans of GTA 6 and maybe even GTA Online can love and enjoy. I'd like to think that's the case, and maybe I'm being a little bit unfair to Rockstar. I've got no reason to think it won't be based on their track record. But there's the problem. Their track record was based on back when the last game came out. And a lot's changed since then. I've changed jobs multiple times. I've got that mortgage I mentioned. And I've started this channel. And as much as my life's changed, the gaming landscape has changed even more. Let's wait and see where this goes. Until then, if you're a fan of the GTA games and especially a fan of GTA Vice City, please do check out more on my channel. I am doing a bit-by-bit live stream playthrough on Vice City using the Definitive Edition for the PS5, giving a lot of love to the game as we play it. I've also got retro reviews for GTA 3 and GTA Vice City, and at some point down the line I will be visiting San Andreas as well, but I want to do my playthrough on Vice City first. Who knows, maybe down the line I'll even take a little look at some of the other GTA games as well. I've certainly got them upstairs on the Xbox 360, but I've never really figured out a way to stream on that, so we'll see. I might actually pick them up on the PS5, branch out a little bit. Until next time, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you've found something of interest in this. If you think I'm miles off base or I'm totally wrong on any of this, or if you completely agree with me on any of this, comment below, let me know. I'd love to hear what people's thoughts are, especially based on their ages, rough ages, what their favourite GTA game is. What they would have liked to have seen with GTA 6, what fears they might have, and what excitement they've got for GTA 6. Please comment below, let me know. I'd really like to hear. And I also want to give one more quick acknowledgement. I recently reached 1,000 subscribers on my channel and I've not really spoken about it too much. Maybe I will in a future podcast. But I just want to say thank you to literally everyone who has subscribed to my channel ever, that's ever interacted with the channel, given it a like, a comment, or watched the live stream. You're the reason it reached 1,000 and I really appreciate it. Until next time, have a great week and of course, take the high ground.